All right, so I'm going to be testing the X-68 Stormtrooper with the new and improved control box for the CO2 preheater and the new improved CO2 preheater circuit or heating element with the ceramic heating element here. I struggled with how to mount that, so temporarily anyways, until I have come up with a better plan, I got some metal wire holding it up against the X cylinder, CO2 cylinder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the preheating circuit. We'll take a couple measurements with the thermometer, and then we'll let it go through at least 1 or 2 cycles, and then I'll puncture the 12 grams I have in the X 2 times 12, and then I have another one 12 gram in the handle, and I'll punch as well, and then we'll see what numbers we get with the preheated CO2. So let me go ahead and turn that on. It's upstairs. It was taken on the earlier test, it was taking about 2 minutes to cycle, so we'll see how it works this time. We got the green power on LED telling us we have 12 volts from the lithium ion battery pack through the fuse in the controller box, through the switch, and up to the thermal switch. And then we also have the red LED, which tells us that the thermal switch the heating circuit is actually closed or on. Okay, so that anytime that's on, when that kicks off, that means it's cycling open, and then usually it'll do that for 2 minutes, and then it'll kick back on. It'll cycle closed again with the red LED, heating LED on, and it'll keep cycling like that. Ideally to maintain about 110 degrees within the cylinder. So we'll see how that goes. Now, everything worked good upstairs with no CO2 in it. Now I have CO2 in it, so I want to warm up the CO2, at least get 1 cycle before I puncture it. It's about 65 down here right now. All right, so thermal sensor is reading about 100 and, oh, she's climbing up. See, we got about 79, 80, 81. It's all heating up in here. Actual thermal switch leads are showing about, well, it's hard to stay stable on it, but I'd say 85 or so. We'll let that cycle once. Once it comes up to the temperature and the thermal switch opens up and that light goes out, then at that point I'll go ahead and puncture the cylinders, and we'll let it continue to do its thing and see what we get for numbers. Good and warm in there now. I'm going to go ahead and puncture this. I'm going to puncture the 2 times 12 first. All right, sounds like I got both good punctures here. Now, before I turn this valve on, I'm going to puncture the bottom. The handle CO2. Okay. We're showing a back pressure. We're still preheating. It hasn't cycled off yet that I've noticed. But now we got cold CO2 in there. We're at 700 now. That's just from the back pressuring of the handle cartridge. Oh, actually, we turned off. That's a good sign. Okay, so the thermal switch is doing its job. I'm going to let it cycle again now that I know that it's working down here. It did work in the office, but that was without CO2 in it. And that's a good sign considering the CO2 has been punctured and it's still warm. It's still very much warm. So I'm going to wait until this, it was taken on average about 2 minutes. 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off. That happened about on the other test, which I'll upload that as well. The actual test that I did without CO2 after I completed mounting the new ceramic heater. We still have 12 volts green LED, so we know that the fuse didn't open or anything like that. Everything's still operational, so we're just waiting for us to call on heat again. Sitting at about 93. Externally right here, so this cylinder is about 93 degrees Fahrenheit. The front of the cylinder where it enters, oh, okay, so the red light, the heating light just kicked back on. Right here we're at about 86. At the on and off, the cog on and off valve, we're about 83. At the car stock where it comes in, we're sitting at about 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, I'm gonna let this do another heating cycle here. One more heating cycle just to make sure everything's nice and warm in here. This new the ceramic heater heats up a lot faster. It's only one, and it, oh, okay, so the light went out again. Okay, so that's 2 full cycles, heat cycles. So it's already been punctured, everything's gassed up. The only thing I haven't done is I haven't turned these 2 valves on. So we're sitting at 700 psi. It's hard to see the gauge because the gauge on this thing was mounted back asswards. But I don't know if you can see that. So 700 psi, that's just from the handle pressure. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to open this and all right, that opened it up to about there. Still at about 700. I'm going to open this up and then we'll have all 3 12 grams, 36 grams total in here. Okay. All right, now we are at about 900 psi. on the gauge. Could be higher than that. Again, this gauge is going to be the base, our base point here. Don't know the accuracy, but this is what we'll be using from here out. So it shows about 900 psi. That is 200 psi higher than what I had without the heater. The most I got before was 700 psi when I was shooting down here around 60-65 degrees with CO2 that was room temperature upstairs and brought down, put in the gun. So that's a gain now. You know, I know the earlier testing from before I changed this on-off ASA valve, I suspected there was a problem with it because it was leaking all the time, and the new one doesn't leak, so it definitely was something wrong with the other one. However, I still put the GOG back in series with it as well, just in case I needed it. It looks like I don't need it, so I'll probably be removing that at some point. But it was a bad valve in here. It shouldn't have been letting pressure both ways the way it was. So we got 900 psi, and we'll see what numbers we get. Hopefully I don't have that problem with the mag dropping out. Now that I'm aware of it, I bought a third magazine, so should be able to get off 3 of these. All right, I don't know what to expect out of this. Hopefully my fingers won't be slipping off the button like they've been doing. Hopefully everything goes off safe, but we're going to be shooting now at 900. The preheater kicked off. It's still cycling automatically. I'm going to let it continue to cycle automatically. Let's get our first shot here and see what we got. 900 psi. I've never used that high before. So let's see what we got here. I don't know what to expect. .472 feet per second. Round 1. 466. The magazine just dropped and blew everywhere. 466. It's still about just under 900 psi. I am going to put this down for a second so I can pick up this mag. I think I only shot, actually, let me get this, point this way, just to be safe, because I don't know what the hell to expect. I got magazines dropping. I should have checked the mag. I had said I was going to check, and I didn't check. I got too busy yippee-napping. All right, got it 4, so it looks like I only got 2 shots off. 4, 5, 6. All right, heater's cycling again. I don't see any rounds in there. All right, I got to be more careful with this magazine. You can see the heater's cycling again. Let's see what we have for a temperature. Nice and warm. It's not getting massively hot, so I mean it's staying pretty stable. Got about 90 over here. Thermal switch is sitting at about 86 right now because it's pushing heat now. The actual heating element is sitting at, well, it's kind of fluctuating depending on where I go with it, but it's got a max of 160. It's showing up. So, all right, I got to keep track of, with this higher pressures, I got to watch this magazine, something fierce, but it's a lot. At least I got those readings recorded. All right, so that was 2 shots. It seems like on the second shot, it's dropping the mag. It's kind of weird. I'll have to play that back and see for sure. All right, so this is going to be shot number 3. .462. Mag's still in there. Shot number 3. Here's shot number 4. 454. Shot number 5, mag's okay. 446. And this should be 6. 436. That should be all 6. The first magazine. Preheater has turned off again, so it's like going through another cycle. Mag 1, again, goal still is 18 rounds at better than 285 feet per second. 6 rounds times 3, 18. 3 mags. That's the goal. That's my personal goal. And 285 or higher for feet per second. All right. She is off heat cycle. Magazine number 2. Let me check what the pressure is here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. We were at 900 psi. We are now at 800 psi. I really got to mount that gauge a different way. All right, let's try magazine number 2. Shot 1, mag 2. 426. Magazine's still there. Shot 2, mag 2. 418. Shot 3, mag 2. 406. Shot 4, mag 2. 394. Shot 5, mag 2. 386. And should be shot 6, mag 2. 376. All right, that's 2 magazines. Looks good. We're in another preheat cycle. Let's just take some measurements. With all that refrigerant going, all that CO2, everything's still warm to the touch. We got sitting at about 88 here. And that's with the heating cycle actually kicked off. 100 degrees there. 105 degrees right here. Nice and warm. And that's external. I imagine it's warmer inside, I would think, but when we get down to coming into the back of the Pistelli here, the X-68, back of the X-68 Stormtrooper, we got 72. So it's even warming up there. It was 69 the first time I took the reading there. So it's good. Everything's warm. The refrigerant is not overwhelming this heater by any means because it's cycling on and off. If this heater was straining to maintain the 40 degrees Celsius at that 40 degrees Celsius thermal switch, what we would see is we wouldn't see this thing turn off. Like the series of tests I did last week with the other heater elements. They couldn't handle it. Those 2 7-watt couldn't handle it. This ceramic heater, totally different heating technology. It's able to put out tons of heat, no problem at all. That's why you're seeing it cycle on and off through the cycles. Otherwise, it'd just be on constantly, like that last week with that Gen 1. So Gen 2 looks like it's doing good. All right, so we're going to do our last mag. Let's check our pressure before we put that in while we're safe. And we have 5, 6, 7. All right, so we still got a third mag to shoot, and then we're at 700 psi. So this preheater, I estimate, gave me a good 200 psi gain To me, well worth it. You know, preheating the CO2 doesn't make sense on every marker, but on a marker that's able to use one of these external CO2 cylinders, it's kind of perfect for that, because the Ulmerix aluminum cylinder, it's a perfect heat sink. You know, it transfers the heat right through it into the chamber just fine. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy with it. I'm happy. Absolutely. We're going to be running the numbers upstairs in the office like we do. Let's get off the last mag here and see if we got our total of 18 shots at 285 feet per second or higher. I'll be thrilled. Shot 1, mag 3. 378 feet per second. Check that mag, it looks good. Shot 2, mag 3. 352 feet per second. Shot 3, mag 3. 330 feet per second. Shot 4. 312 feet per second. Shot 5. 296 feet per second. And the last shot, I'll be thrilled if it's 285 or higher. 270. That's still not bad. That's got to be over 30 joules, I would think. These are the same 9.9 gram riot balls that I've been testing with to keep it consistent. It's the heaviest stuff I have. All right, so that's all 18 rounds. Let's check the pressure. Maybe we can plink with some other. I got 500 psi left, so I mean, we definitely got some pressure left in there. 500. Right, just at the end of the green there. 500 psi. And let's see what our temperatures are doing. Nice and warm. Nice and warm. Everything's warm. Starts to cool off a little bit over here. You know, naturally on the back of the gun. But everything else, beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Very thrilled with this. All right, what we got here? What's the... Can't even see it so bright in here. All right, we're not calling for heat right now. We're at about 90. Power LEDs. Oh, I'm calling for heat now. See, it just kicked back on. All right, so this is the automated process here with safety. All right, about 90. So we're still sitting about 90 here. Looks like 87 was the max over here just now. But we're entering a heat cycle. It's going to start warming back up. So any residual liquid CO2 that's in here, and I imagine there's probably some left. It should start getting excited here. Okay, the heater element itself, even though most of its heat energy is being absorbed or transferred through the aluminum cylinder, we're still spiking. We're getting a max 157 Fahrenheit on that. That thing goes I saw it earlier going up to about 225 degrees. So it's definitely powerful enough to handle and efficient as well. I mean, running off a single small 12-volt lithium-ion battery pack right here. Got it wired up in here. One down in there. So, not bad. We got 500 psi. I'm going to load up another magazine and see what we can get. I'm not expecting an impressive numbers like we did the first 3 magazines, but let's see if we get anywhere in the 25 to 35 joule neighborhood. And we'll see what we get here. All right. The rest of them are probably all over the place too. All right, we got 4, we got 5, we got 6. Yeah, I gotta dig in. Thanks, Sean, for your feedback on that last video as far as the magazines dropping. Being that it could be maybe or the fix could be maybe a stronger magazine spring, or I think you mentioned something about what was the other thing, the follower or something. I'll have to look into that, see what I can come up with, I guess. But that's kind of a bummer when your magazine drops out for the on your high power shots anyways. It kind of throws you for a loop a little bit. At least it does for me. We still got 500 psi. Let's see how many of these 6 we can fire off here. I'm not going to bother chronographing these. These are just going to be for numbers, just to see if we get them going, because I'm totally satisfied with what I got. Would have hoped that last shot on third mag would have been 285 or better. It was 270. Hey, it's still, I think, great. I know those numbers sounded really consistent too, so I'm sure they're going to show nice, smooth, consistent, each shot. So, and I captured every single shot with the chronogram. I didn't slip. My finger didn't slip this time, so that's good too. So we'll just see if we'll see what the 500 psi that's left. Again, it's back in another heat cycle. Nice and hot. Nice and hot. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. May not be for everybody, but I like it. It's been a fun little project. I don't regret designing it and building it. So, but yeah, this is Gen 2 CO2 preheater for the X-68 Stormtrooper. Anyways, let's see what we can get out of these here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we got 4 out of 6. And I'm glad I didn't waste my time with the chronographing them, because that would have been a waste of time. Still got another one in there. Whoop. All right, I'm gonna turn off the preheater. I don't need that anymore. Close this down, and that's the X-68 Stormtrooper with Gen 2 CO2 preheater. And we'll do the numbers upstairs in the office. I'll catch you up there. Okay, back in the office after a successful final test number 4. And let's go over the numbers. Good news, again, all three of the Crossman cartridges, 12-gram cartridges, did punctured very nice. I did use the shim, like a thick plastic washer in the 2 times 12-gram Umarex cylinder between the 2 12 grams in there, just to ensure a good puncture. Everything went perfect there. I was able to puncture the Umarex external cylinder while the valve was off. This way I could be able to turn that on after puncturing the handle, so I didn't have the trouble that I had in the last test with trying to puncture the handle under pressure. So that helped a lot. The new on and off ASA valve assembly that I installed works perfect. There's no leakage in there like the other one had. I did introduce the GOG on and off as well, just in case, because I wanted to make sure that I could break down, kind of modular, and be able to gas up one half of the gun and the external half separately. So I may remove that in the future and do some testing to see if the numbers are any better, but I'm very satisfied with the numbers I have right now. So I was able to get the 18 shots or or a total of 3 magazines without the need of replacing CO2, which was one of my personal goals. The other goal was to break the 100 joule mark, which I can say I did today. My Hotshot today was 472 feet per second, total 102.45 joules, which was static. I'm static about that on this test number 4. Very happy with that. Again, just to go over this particular Pistelli, what I'm calling the X-68 Stormtrooper build or prototype, because to me it kind of, with the preheat, the CO2 preheater on there, kind of looks like a space gun or a stormtrooper. So that's why I named this prototype that. So and I'm kind of a Star Wars fan, so guilty little pleasure there watching sci-fi. Anyway, so we got a 12-inch barrel on it. It's a .685 barrel bore, shooting 68 caliber, 9.9 gram riot balls. That's all I've been using on all these tests consistently with the Pistelli, because it's the heaviest ammo that I have for it in 68 caliber. So once again, if I did not identify it in the other video, it was indeed the riot balls, the 9.9 gram. All right, so going back to the actual statistics here, or the data, shot number 2 was 466 feet per second, and that gave us 99.86 joules. At this time, my mag dropped. It literally dropped completely out of the gun this time. I did have this happen twice on the last test number 3. On the 7th, I think it was, that was the date. Anyways, so the mag dropped again, literally dropped, hit the floor, a bunch of rounds fell out everywhere. Thankfully, it didn't break. I actually just bought a 3rd magazine with anticipation of being able to make this goal of 3 mags without having to change the CO2. And you can't beat the price of these 12 grams. I mean, I'm buying even the Umerix brand, which is a good brand. I'm buying 50, like $30. I'm getting like 50 12 grams. That's down to like, what, 52 cents, something like that a piece. For me to shoot 18 rounds, it's costing me like under $2. So I mean, you can't argue with that math. The cost savings there. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to explore this whole thing, this whole idea with it. I'll be doing some testing next with the 90 gram as well, but the 12 grams are so much cheaper. If you do the math, what it costs, the cheapest I can get a 90 or 88 gram cylinder is like $10, which I just picked up 2 of them. It was like $20 for 2, and and that's about the cheapest I've seen them. But even at that, if you add up the 12 grams to 90, 88 or 90 gram, I mean, it's costing you more, around $6-7 instead of $10. So if you're being, trying to make an economical choice, this works well. I'm sure you don't have the volume, but combined with the handle and the 2 in the Umerix, 2 times 12 gram, you got 36 grams. You got 36 grams of CO2. Now, you add a heater to that, a preheater. Well, as you've seen, definitely some gains in PSI. Excellent gains, actually. So that was, anyways, I totally went off on a tangent. So that was, where did I leave off? Anyways, so 462 was the 3rd shot at 98.15 joules. Because of the mag drop. That's where I went off on a tangent. Sorry, guys. The next shot number 4, was at 454 feet per second, a total of 94.78 joules. Very consistent numbers. I mean, look at the drop in CO2. I mean, what is it? Within 5, 10, 10 feet per second, maybe less in some cases. Shot 5 was 446 feet per second, 91.47 joules. Shot number 6, 436 feet per second, 87.41 joules. And then magazine number 2, 426 feet per second, 83.45 joules. Shot number 2 on mag 2 was 418 feet per second, 80.35 joules. And then we had 406 feet per second for 75.80 joules. Then we had 394 feet per second, 71.38 joules. And then we had 386 feet per second, 68.51 joules. And then we had, for the last shot of magazine 2, we had 376 feet per second at 65.01 joules. All right, for our third magazine, shot number 1 was 378 feet per second, 65.70 joules. Shot number 2 was 352 at 56.97, almost 57 joules. And then we had 330 feet per second at 50.07 joules. 312 feet per second at 44.76 joules. 296 at 40.29. And then the final shot, I was kind of hoping it'd be 285 or higher, but I'm not going to gripe over this really. 270 feet per second, 33.52, 33 and a half joules. That's still, for your last shot, that's decent power in my book any day. And again, this is using 9.9 gram riot balls. I mean, this is like pretty much almost 10 gram ammo. Heavy stuff. So excellent. 3 mags, 18 shots. I still had, I think, what did I have? Like 500 PSI left on the gauge. So I ended up shooting a few more. I think I got maybe 2 or 3 more shots out of it. I didn't chrono them because I knew they were going to be pretty low. But I made my goal. My finger didn't slip off of anything this time, which was good, especially not my Hotshot. The mag drop's a concern. It's still kind of getting used to that. I wasn't too thrilled about that. I certainly need to dig in a little deeper as to how to correct that. Thank you, Sean, giving me some pointers the other day. Maybe the magazine springs, the magazine release kind of, was another thing that Sean proposed could be the issue. Maybe the spring needs to be beefed up a little bit. I think I'm going to try that first if I can find or if anybody knows where I can get a stiffer spring that would work for it. If anybody's tried that yet. Again, I know Brandon had the problem. I think I've seen one other person have this issue too. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. But it seems like all high-powered guns, high-powered Pistellis, seem to have this problem. But anyways, it's something that I need to check into, see if I can fix that. I definitely don't want these things dropping out, especially if they're going to hit the floor. The mags aren't cheap. I think I just spent $40, $45 on that third magazine that I got from Mercury Rise. So, yeah, I don't want to see that happening all the time. So anyways, test results. Again, today's ambient temperature was actually a little bit warmer in the basement. It was 65 Fahrenheit. It had the previous test, it was all about 60. All 3 12-gram, which were Crossman cartridges, they were all punctured. I verified that afterwards off camera. Been having success ever since I've been using the spacer. So no problem there. Starting pressure was 900 PSI. So if you remember the testing, I actually punctured the handle. It brought us up to 700 PSI, I think it was, yeah. And then I opened up the valve, the GOG valve and the other ASA valve to allow the pressure, the pre-punctured pressure of the two 12 grams that I had in the Umrex cylinder. Once I did that, the pressure went up to 900 PSI. So that was like a gain, in my mind, that's a gain of 200 PSI from, preheating the CO2. I know I had some problems with the other on and off valve, and then I replaced it. So I don't know if that kind of helped contribute to higher pressures as well, having that new one in there. But I also had 2 on and off valves in series. So could I have had even more than 900 PSI if I didn't have 2 of those in series? Maybe, maybe not. I'll have to test that next. I'll have to delete that GOG again. I didn't put it on the back of the stock, the back of the Pistelli. I ended up put it in series right after the Umrex cylinder. So maybe I'll play around with that too and see if I gain even more PSI out of it. But still, I'm thrilled with this. Very thrilled with the preheater project here. 900 PSI from CO2. Very happy with it. So this is Gen 2 CO2 preheater using the PTC, which I keep forgetting, which stands for positive temperature coefficient. It's a ceramic heater. It's basically, as it heats up, it varies its internal impedance. This way it doesn't overheat, it doesn't draw too much current and overload the circuit. The thing did fantastic. I mean, I saw upwards to 225 degrees Fahrenheit earlier testing today. All that heat's being drawn in through the Umerix aluminum cylinder. So again, the cylinder acting like a heat sink worked out fantastic. So those are the key takeaways there. Was that ceramic heater was so much better than the previous heater on generation 1. The numbers are consistent. I mean, you look at these numbers, 102, 99, 98, 94, 91, 87, 83, 80, 75, 71, 68, 65, and so on. I mean, very consistent, very smooth. Again, combination of the car stock, even though it's, I did kind of put some filler in there to reduce some of that expansion chamber on the car stock, but still, there's still a lot of benefit taking place there from that car stock. So I'm going to keep it. I love it. I think it's a great stock, and it's been working out really good for me. So anyways, very thrilled with this test. This was test number 4. It is the final test in this series. And yeah, so, like I normally say here, hopefully it was educational. And if it wasn't educational, maybe it was entertaining. So peace out, guys.